Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara. Uh-oh. Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, let him do it. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvajaka Ashtota Tadashri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvajaka Ashtota Tadashri Srimad, Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, so we're going to be on, let's see, did I read that one? Who was here yesterday? Did we do 27? I think we did 27. We did 28, thank you. Okay, we're going to be on page 408, text 28, near the bottom of the page. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this July 17th, 2024, the auspicious Ekadashi day, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are on page 408, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, text 28. Shubha Shubha Palayar Evam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi. One more. Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi. Ladies? Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaishyasi. Anyone online? Okay. You want? Go ahead. It's okay. All right, I'll read the word by words. You just follow along. Shubha from auspicious. Ashubha and inauspicious. Palayi results. Evam, thus, mokshase, you will become free. Karma of work. Bandhanai from the bondage. Sannyasa of renunciation. Yoga, the yoga. Yukta atma, having the mind firmly set on. Vimuktaha, liberated. Mam, to me. Upaishyasi, you will attain. Translation. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, in this way you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So there's a little context here. He's referring to the previous verse, which I'll read the translation. Whatever you do, Whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. And in this way you'll be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me and this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Purport. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called yukta. The technical term is yukta-vairāgya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairāgyam uchyate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-255. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. We cannot cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called yukta-vairāgya. Actually situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind. And as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, at the end, he becomes liberated, and this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become one with the Brahmajyoti, but rather enters into the planet of the Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here, Mam Upaishyasi, he comes to me, back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation, and here it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime here, under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting this body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. Anyone who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of himself as an eternal servant, dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. As such, whatever he does it for the benefit of the Lord. Whatever action he performs it as service to the Lord. He does not give serious attention to the fruit of activities or prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. For ordinary persons, it is obligatory to execute the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. But although a pure devotee who is completely engaged in the service of the Lord may sometimes appear to go against the prescribed Vedic duties, actually it is not so. Page 409. It is said, therefore, by Vaishnava authorities, that even the most intelligent person cannot understand the plans and activities of a pure devotee. The exact words are Tanma Vakya Kriya Mudra Vigyaya Nabujoy from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 23:39. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of the Lord, or is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord, is to be considered completely liberated at present, and in the future his going back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. He is above all materialistic criticism, just as Krishna is above all criticism. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So Krishna is describing how we can purify our lives and ultimately return to him in the spiritual world. Now this is the common phrase, go back home, back to Godhead, and return, which implies we were there once, obviously, right? So then the question may arise, why in heck did we leave? And there's no real answer to that, except that we have Krishna's qualities to a minute degree, and that includes free will. We have a certain amount of free will. And why does Krishna give us this free will? Because otherwise there's no meaning to love. It's servitude. Prabhupada would use the word servitude to mean service. But servitude really means slavery. There's no devotion in slavery. It's all just force. So Prabhupada famously said once, Krishna doesn't want us to love him at the root of a revolver. You know, love me or else. No, that's not bhakti, right? That's something else. So Krishna is advising us here, Remember, he started this little section with advising how you can connect your eating to him. Everyone eats. How to eat in such a way that it doesn't entangle you further in material life. Because eating is one of the main ways of pleasure. Every mother knows a child can be very pacified if they're happy sucking the breast or whatever, you know. So it's one of the first senses of self-gratification. But we learned in the famous previous verse, 926, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti paritam Kṛṣṇāmi prayatātmanaha. So Krishna says, he describes the different categories of food that we can prepare for him. From patram, from so many leaves, so many, you know, and a flower. Of course, flowers can be offered to him, you know, at the altar like that, but also the flower of a plant can be what is edible. And then, of course, fruit, water, including milk. So unlimited combinations, you know, these can make with spices and so forth. Delicious preparations. Now, the question is, what is your consciousness when you're preparing and you're offering? And what Krishna is interested in is the love, not so much your preparation, although no matter how elaborate it may be. What he really says here, and Prabhupada points out in the purport, that he mentions bhakti twice in this verse. Patram pusham palam yome bhaktya prayachati. One who offers me a food, a flower, etc., with love, tad aham bhakti paritam, that which is given in love, I eat it. Kṛṣṇāmi prayatātmanaha. Now, how does he eat it? By glancing at it. Although Prabhupada mentioned sometimes he actually eats and the food disappears. You know, there's some instances like that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very advanced devotees. Actually, it was a child. It was an advanced devotee, you know, his child. I forget his name now. And his father told him, "You make the offering today, you know, and make sure the Lord eats." So he very carefully made the offering, and he was peeking in there, and he says, "He's not eating. He's nothing on it." So he said, "Will you please eat, please?" You know, and it was so sincere that actually he did. And when his father came back, he said, "We made the offering," and he looked, "Well, where is it?" You know, the Lord ate it. You know, really. They didn't believe him, so he did it again, and so that's very advanced. But this love with which it's prepared, you have to actually understand. Oh, Krishna's going to eat this. This is, you know, this is so I have to put as much care and attention and affection into it as possible, and also in the offering, and also in the eating. It should also be there, and understand this is a sacrament. You're not just, you know, feeding your body, but you're reciprocating with Krishna. He is happy when he sees you relishing the prasadam. You know, and so you're serving him by eating. You're not just serving yourself, you know. So that's that, and that was a major portion, not only of Lord Chaitanya's mission, how he preached, you know, because he amongst the people in general, he didn't really do a lot of lectures in philosophy. It was all these big kirtans, you know, for hours, and then prasadam. And that was exactly Prabhupada's mood when he started this movement. He gave talks, because, you know, Bhagavad Gita, but there was preceded by a beautiful kirtan, followed by a nice kirtan and prasadam. That was essential. And the love feast, you know, that was one of his disciples there. He said, you know, in Srila Prabhupada on Sunday, many families get together and they have a nice dinner together. So Prabhupada said, okay, we'll do that now. We'll invite people to come on Sunday afternoon, and we'll cook a very elaborate feast. And he cooked the first ones. You can imagine how delicious those were. He was cooking and serving them out, you know, serving the preparation. What we wouldn't have, that was almost 60 years ago now. So, but he taught, you know, his disciples how to cook. When I joined in 1973 in Brooklyn, it was a special temple, because first of all, the books were being put out there, and you know, all this wonderful artwork we have, all the artists were there. And these very advanced devotees, you know. So they were all there, and we had some incredible cooks who had been trained by Prabhupada personally, you know. So Sunday feast, it was hard not to have a little bit too much, I gotta admit. But anyway, Patram Pusham Palam Toya. So Krishna says, okay, you eat in this way, and I will eat the remnants, and you'll make the advancement. And then he gives the general principle in the last verse, 27. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhosi dadasi, yat tapasasikonta, yat tatkudushtamarapanam. So whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away in charity, and whatever austerities you perform, do those, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So the whole idea is to, under the guidance of the Shastra and the sadhus and the gurus, we have this tripartite source of authority. The main source is the Shastra, the revealed scripture, as given by Krishna himself, or in the form of Veda Vyas, writing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and also the followers, the students of Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. This is a distillation of all of the Vedic knowledge, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam especially. And so all of that is very important, and as given by Srila Prabhupada, a realized soul, and explained. So you're getting the instruction of the Guru in the explanations, you're getting Krishna's instruction here personally in the text. And this is how we strengthen our intelligence so that we can actually make more and more of our life into an offering to Krishna. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I getting up in the morning? What's the point of my life? It says, oh, okay, I have so many duties to perform. Yes, I have duties to the family, but we're trying to center everything on Krishna. So we have our altar, and the children are learning, and what's the pictures on the wall, and what's this music playing, and the sounds. You see? Everything there's transcendental sound and there's material sound. And the material sound will deepen your illusion and your attraction to this world. But the transcendental sound will attract you to Krishna and pave your way out of this Mayic world, this illusory world. So Srila Prabhupada taught us, for this famous verse here, what is real vairāgya? Vairāgya is very important because what keeps us attracted here is raga. Attachment to a variety of senses. The eyes, the ears, the nose, all the organs, the sense organs, both active and knowledge acquiring, they have objects of attraction that we get pleased to, and we often become addicted, very much attracted to a certain style of music, a certain style of this and so on. So there's a whole panoply of material desires that we develop. And this is raga. So we have to become detached from that. But you can't just become detached because the attachment is natural to the soul. We have to transfer that attachment to Krishna. And actually one of the main ways it's done is by becoming attached to the sadhus. And there's a beautiful passage in the third canto, in the teachings of Kapila Dev to his mother. Those who may be familiar with the Bhagavatam, there's four or five chapters, very important there. And right near the beginning of his instruction to his mother, he has 8 verses about the importance of association with sadhus. Sadhu sangha, satsanga, you see? This is how we become purified. So first he has this verse, which I put into a little poem. Prasangam, and this word comes up again. Prasangam means not just sangha attachment, but very intense attachment and association. So prasangam mataram pasham atmanakkabayovaduhu saesha sadhasukrato moksha dwaram aparvatam. Moksha dwara, we know what moksha is. What is dwara? A door, right? A doorway. So the verse goes like this. Mundane affection keeps us tied to birth and death infernal. But love for sadhus opens wide the doors to life eternal. You see? So prasang ajanam pasham. Pasham is ropes, right? Very strong ropes of attachment built from association with material modes of nature. Atmana kavayo vidu. Those who are kavis, those who are intelligent, they know very well that the same intense attraction we have for this thing, object of the senses, has to be transferred to the sadhus. Saesha sadhasukrato, and that opens the door to eternal life. So then the question is, well, who's a sadhu? So the next 2 or 3 verses he describes the qualities and the activities of a real sadhu. And of course, ultimately is the qualities of a pure devotee. But it's interesting, the first verse doesn't mention bhakti. He says this verse, very famous verse, and you can think of Prahlad Maharaj, you can think of Dhruva, you can think of great devotee. Titikshava, Karunika, Suridak sarva dehinam. Ajata shatravak shanta. Sadhavak sadhabhushana. These are the ornaments of the character of the sadhu. The first is tolerance. We have to learn to tolerate the dualities of the world, not always just, as soon as there's something that's unpleasant, we do as much as we can to counteract it. And if there's something for us, we go for it, sense gratification. No, you have to tolerate the urges. This is the first verse of the Nectar of Instruction. Vacho Begam, Manasa, Krodha Begam. Right? So you have to tolerate them. So that's the thing, Titikshava, but also merciful. Karunika, merciful to who? Sarvadehinam, all embodied souls. Certainly human beings, but certainly animals too. They wouldn't dream of eating any meat, you see. Suridak sarvadehinam, and therefore ajata shatravat, has no enemy, has no enmity toward anyone. And because of all this, shanta, very peaceful at heart, you see. And these sadhavak sadhabhushan, these are the ornaments, character ornaments of the sadhu. Now how do you get that way? Next verse, it's about bhakti. Kapila Deva is speaking, and he's an incarnation of Krishna, as he reveals here. Mayananyena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti yedvidham. Vatkrite tyaktas karmanas tyaktas swajana bandhava. So it says, Mayananyena, without deviation, performing bhakti to me. This is called unalloyed devotion, with great determination. Bhavena bhaktim kurvanti yedvidham. And by the strength of this bhakti, matkrite tyakta karmanas, they'll give up any activity that's outside the realm of bhakti. Matkrite tyakta karmanas. And if their relations and their friends and family are impediments, then they'll also give that up. Now, they don't have to be. They can help our bhakti. And that's why Prabhupada established so importantly the grihastha ashram. It's an ashram, not just grihamedi life. And he would point out so many of Lord Chaitanya's devotees were householders. And also he pointed out all the great acharyas, they're born in families after all. So you can't say no sex at all. No controlled sex, spiritual sex within household life. So this is, and then so what's the result of that? Mayananyena bhavena. Then he says, well, how do they enjoy? Manashaya katam rishta shrinvandi katayanti cha tapanti vibrastapa naitan mangata chetasa. He said, they're always hearing and chanting vibrations in relation to me. This is a very interesting metaphor. Manashaya, those that which have taken shelter of me. They're related to Krishna. Kata mrishta, very sweet, very pleasing to the ear. Shrinvanti katayanti, hearing and chanting. And because of that absorption, tapanti vibrastapan, the natural difficulties and pains in this world don't bother them so much, because their minds are absorbed in Krishna. And that enhances the tolerance. You can tolerate so much if you're experiencing the bhava and the rasa within your heart at every moment. And that's what he's doing. And then he says to his mother, sadvi, Taesha sadhavak sadvi, I forget the Sanskrit, sorry. But it's that, therefore you should search out such sadhus, because by their association, you will counteract the doshas, the faults that have accumulated in your character and your consciousness from other bad association. So here, I immediately thought of this verse from the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. This, I don't know if you're familiar with this. Nirmana moha citta-sanga dosha. Citta-sanga, the conquer over the sanga dosha, the faults that have accrued to bad association. This is how you surrender, the surrender verse. So anyway, then he goes on, and the next critical verse is the most famous verse of the series, which I'll end with. I won't go through the other few. And that's satam prasangan mama. Notice that word prasanga again. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido pavanti ritkana rasayana katha tanjoshanara swapavarga vartmani shraddha rati bhakti anukramishati. So this is a summary kind of the Sadhu Sangashtika. So by this prasanga, now again the word prasanga means intense, meaningful association, not just superficial. Satam prasangan, what's going to happen in that prasanga? Mama virya samvido. Kapila Deva is speaking, you're going to hear about my powerful glories, activities, Mama virya samvido, which are bhavanti ritkana rasayana, a veritable life-giving ambrosia
for the heart and the mind. Mama virya sambhavanti rit karna, and for the ear and the heart, rasayana kata. And following this process, which is the easiest process of yoga, he says in the next verse, we're doing it right now. I'm not much of a sadhu, but I'm just basically reading Bhagavad Gita. But we're sharing. It says, employing this means of just getting together, glorifying me. And what's the epitome of this glorification? Sankirtan. I chant, you hear, you chant, I hear. So in this way, we're sharing the most powerful form of sadhusanga. So then, Tanjoshanat Ashu, quickly, Apavargavartmani. This is a path of liberation, because you're slackening all your attractions to Maya, and you're strengthening your attractions to Krishna. That's what it means to become liberated. So Apavargavartmani, then these things develop one after another. Shraddha, your faith in Krishna in the process of the whole, you become stronger and stronger because you're experiencing the results. That really undergirds your faith. You were promised that there would be peace, that there would be joy, that there would be freedom, and you're getting it. Okay, I have more and more faith. Shraddha rati, actual attraction for Krishna, and Shraddha rati bhakti, bhakti which means prema bhakti, and your love for Krishna, step by step, anukramishati. So it all really depends on our willingness to regularly associate with great souls, and the most practical way is through the books, and of course the classes and the kirtans and the festivals, and now we have the internet, which can be a big tower of Babel that can just take us to hell, or it can be a source of wonderful vibrations. You'll find so many kirtans, so many lectures, ISKCON, Desire Tree, and so many other sites. So, here, just to go back to the Shubhashubha Pralarevam, by giving all of the fruits of the activity. In this way, you were free from bondage to work and its inauspicious and auspicious results. So we don't want to just have good karma. We don't want good karma, Paul. With that, maybe you can go to heaven. But we learned in a few verses back, you just go up there and your piety runs out and you come back again here. You didn't really make any progress, going and coming. So that, whether it's Shubha or Ashubha fruit, then the results are burned off. Mokshase karma bandhana, you become free from bondage. And this is real sannyas. The essence of sannyas is not just that, the sannyasi, the traditional sannyasi, but that mood of sannyas. Every living entity can have that. It means serious renunciation and detachment built on vairāgya of all the things that are binding us to this world. And it only comes when we progressively build our attachment to Krishna. You can't become just detached from this world. That's this impersonal thing. Eventually you fail. Because we're living beings. We need relationships, we need activity, we need something to do. And if we're not doing bhakti, then we're doing maya. This is our two choices. So with the built intelligence through hearing and practicing, then we can strengthen our intelligence so we control the mad mind, which can be our worst enemy, as we learned in chapter 6, or our best friend. So that training and that practice matures into the spontaneity, where you just spontaneously want to glorify the Lord and serve Him because it's such a wonderful pleasure to do so. And you wouldn't dream of doing things that are dragging you away from that. We can't even imagine in our conditioned state the intensity of the love and the desire to serve that comes in the pure devotee. But we see the evidence in great devotees like Srila Prabhupada, who was ready to sacrifice everything to just try to please his spiritual master and Lord Chaitanya by trying to give bhakti to us. And he succeeded with the help of the Lord, obviously. Oh, okay. Any discussion on this verse? If not, we can proceed. He's building up to the climax at the end, the essence of the text 34. So now this next verse is very, very famous. Samoham sarvabhuteshu namedveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Purport. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone, and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination. It is natural. Any man in this material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is his son, and so he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotees, he gives specific attention. And specific in Prabhupada's vocabulary often is synonymous with special. He gives special attention. That may have been fixed. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are always transcendentally situated in Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists situated in him. The Lord says here distinctly, Mahite, they are in me. Naturally, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the words, Ye yatamam prapadyante, tam tataiva bhajamyaham. Okay, we have a bunch of Gita scholars here. What does those words mean? Anyone know? Ye yatamam prapadyante? Tam tataiva bhajamyaham. Okay, I'll let you know. It means that Krishna says, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. He reciprocates with our intensity and the details of approach. If we're chanting to him with genuine surrender and desperation, then we'll feel his protection, we'll feel his reciprocation. And if you keep doing that, then he'll reveal himself to you. He promises that. So it all depends on our sincerity, on our determination to kick out the vestiges of all Maya that are troubling us and all these things, and to perform the processes of purification that are the basis of the bhakti yoga as taught by Lord Chaitanya. From the very first words of the Shikshastika. Who wants to chant them? Come on. The first 4 or 5 syllables. Marjanam. Okay? So what is that? The marjanam is cleaning of the mirror of the heart, right? So what's the result? Oh, you get liberation. Right at the beginning, first line. Bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. The great fire of birth and death, which we've been burning in from time immemorial, nirvapanam is extinguished. That's the first beginning of bhakti. It's not the end. The end of bhakti is that you forget about liberation. You're so immersed from moment to moment in serving Krishna, exchanging rasa with him, and loving him, that you don't worry about liberation. And it's a byproduct. There's a very wonderful verse written by Bilvamangal Thakur in his Krishna Karnamrita. And he's describing how mukti is really a child of bhakti. It really comes in the tune. Bhakti stvahi siddhatadha bhagavan yadisyad daivenanak padati divya kishora murti mukti swayam mukulitanjali sevatesman dharmartha kama gatayak samayak bhatiksha. So we know that there are these 4 basic principles in Vedic culture: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So he deals with each of them in this verse. So, my dear Lord, this Bilvamangal Thakur, he lifted. I thought there was a misprint or a mistake when I first read in Prabhupada's book that he lived for 700 years in Vrindavan. But I heard he said it again and again. So somehow he did that. But he was blind. He blinded himself, but I won't get into that detail. But he was physically blind, but he was always speaking about these verses, about how Krishna's come before my eyes. I see him in every moment. It's spiritual vision, you see. So this verse has that. Bhakti stvahi, my dear Lord, those who are fixed in your devotion, bhakti stvahi stiratada bhagavan yadisyad. If someone is fixed, then they get the fruit of that. And what is that? Liberation? No. Daivenanak palati divya kishora murti. They get a vision of your beautiful adolescent form, which is all satisfying, far beyond liberation. And as far as mukti is concerned, he personifies her. She's standing in the doorway, waiting to serve me with the Anjali. This means, how can I serve you? Often you have a flower in there, push Anjali, right? So how can I serve you? In other words, mukti, whatever mukti I need is taken care of. I don't worry about it. And as far as dharma, artha, and kama, they're also waiting. I need a little kama, a little satisfaction. It's a nice prasad, whatever. So, but the real fruit is this manifestation of the divine adolescent form of Krishna. at every moment in your life. And you don't worry about liberation at all. Why would Lord Chaitanya say, Nadanang, Nadanang, Nadanang? Wealth, women, followers, the fruits of mundane piety, liberation from this world of limitless anxiety? Because he had Mama Janmani Janmani Shwade, Bhavadad Bhaks. He says, what is he praying for? First he says what I don't want. Wealth, nuh-uh. Janam, followers, nope. Sundarim, there's two ways of understanding. It could be Sundarim Kavitam, very beautiful erudition. Bhaktivinoda applies the Sundarim to the Kavitam. And Prabhupada said, okay, that means beautiful wife. It's a standard thing to pray for. Kavitam, great learning, Kavitam va Jagadish Shakami. I'm not, Lord of the universe, asking for these things. And as far as liberation goes, he implies, Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvade Bhavatal Bhakti Hoitakitvahi. I just want your unmotivated devotional service, ahoitaki. This word comes up again and again. Now, hetu means a cause, and it commonly means a motive, a material motive, you see. So therefore, the word ahoitaki bhakti, there's no material motive. So then the question is, well, what motive is there? Because if you do anything, there's got to be a motive. The motive doesn't mean material motive. But this ahoitaki means material motive. So it means that the motive is love. It's love. That's the most important motive. How can I please Krishna? I simply want to act to please, even if it's against my own so-called material interests. I don't care. So that's what he's praying for, and he's teaching us to pray for that too. Don't get sidetracked into approaching God for some material thing. That's not the point. He'll take care of everything if you just do the bhakti. He says, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham, right? In this very chapter. Ananyas Chindayanto Mam, Yejana Payupasate, Tesham Nitya Vyakranam, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham. One who is unceasingly thinking about me in devotion, Yejana Payupasate, worshipping, then I carry what they lack, I preserve what they have. For living in this world, we need basically two categories of things, the yoga and the kshema. Right? Yoga are all the things we need to live. We need food, we need shelter, we need the household, all the things. But we also need security. You may be taking dinner, but if there's someone, there's war happening on the street, you're not going to be at peace. So that kshema is very important. So I personally make sure my devotees have everything they need and they have security. Yoga kshema bhava, I carry it myself. So if we have that faith, then we can turn ourselves to doing those things that we know will be pleasing to Krishna. Regardless if they're pleasing to us, that doesn't matter. Because we'll find a greater pleasure in knowing that Krishna is pleased. And that's why Arjuna, he gave up all of his own interest. He had all these very important ties, emotional ties to so many, Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya and so many others. But he knew that Krishna wanted him to fight. And so he did what materially was very painful for him, but he basically surrendered to Krishna. All right, any discussion of this work? So Krishna is not partial. He's samoham savabhuteshu. I am not intrinsically or envious or priya. No one is especially hateful. Dvesha means or priya, dear to me. But as they act, those who worship me with love and devotion, I am in them and they are in me. In other words, Krishna is very intimate with us, and we always feel his presence and protection at all times. So he says he's reciprocating. So there's nothing more valuable than that. All right, next verse, very, very famous. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadureva samantavya samyag bhavisito hisaha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Now, this verse needs explanation, and Prabhupada gives it. Purport. The word sudurachara used in this verse is very significant, and we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditioned and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life, and such activities are called conditional. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position, and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within the heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path. For, as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as the devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting, altogether, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words sadhu eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are a warning to the non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. In the Nrsimha Purana, the following statement is given: Bhagavad Gita hadab ananyacheta vishamalino virajate manusya nahi shasha kalusa chabi kadachid timana parabhavatam upaiti chandra. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. That's why the moon is called Shashi. You know that? Shashi means rabbit. Yeah. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee. So this verse is very important, because in this environment of the Kali Yuga, it's not easy to practice devotional service, because there's so many temptations, there's so many irregularities, and the mind is always disturbed. At the beginning of Bhagavatam, first chapter, like maybe the 12th verse or something, the disqualifications of those living in this Kali Yuga are explained. And some of you may know this verse. Prayena alpayashak sabhya kalavasmin yugejana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya upadrita. So this is all, the word begins for the most part And that applies to every quality here. But especially the first thing is, mostly we don't live that long. It used to, in previous ages, just the Dwapara Yuga, the average was 1,000 years. Previous to be that 10,000, and in the Satya Yuga they lived 100,000 years. But here, 100 years is very rare, so it's not very long. So that's the first thing. Kalavasmi Yugejana. Manda, we're very lazy generally in the matter of a spiritual life. There's so much going on in our material sphere that it doesn't, for many people it makes no sense. You Hare Krishnas, you're missing out. It's funny because every day I take this walk, up about 6:30 in the morning, a japa walk, and I'm really cooking, And there's a new gym up there. I'm not advertising for this gym, but it's something different than the normally gym. It's not just a bunch of stationary bikes in there, and you can come in but there's actual coaches in there, and there's music playing, all this hip hop music. And you find it's such a crowd when it opened up. All people in their 20s, young guys and girls going there, So I'm coming there in my clothes, chanting japa, and I'm weaving between them, and what is this guy? And I can just imagine, boy, he's really nuts, Why did he? We're gonna go have some fun, And so it's like a temple to the body. These gyms, Oh yeah, we got a strong body, we'll really enjoy, right? And then just down the road, the temple to God is there, but they wouldn't be caught dead in here. And I wouldn't be caught dead in there. So, but it's interesting to get, that's the Bhagavad Gita, is playing itself out, you can see. Total, body consciousness, and in the bloom of youth where you can think, yeah, I can really enjoy, I just need to get my abs together, So, but that's the environment we're in. So the chances of deviating, are very strong in Bhakti Yoga, because it is a strict process ultimately. So Krishna is encouraging us in this, and he's saying, look, if someone due to the age, it's not premeditated, but just to the weakness, this is not a disqualification. As long as they pick themselves up, himself or herself, and get back into strict Krishna consciousness, then he'll say in the next verse, very quickly they become righteous. You see, and it's like you can learn from that. You can learn from that. Oh, how powerful Maya is, and you also see others, your god brothers, god sisters, falling prey to the allurements of the material world. But mostly, it's that you have to call out to Krishna with great, from the bottom of your heart. Please save me. Please get me back on the pure path. I realize now this was a big mistake. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And if it's sincere there, then Krishna will give you the strength to straighten out. And this verse, unfortunately, I forgot what it is. Vikarma yacho patatam katanchit. That I once knew it by heart. But there's a verse similar to this in the Bhagavatam. That if one is fully engaged and fully absorbed in devotional service, but somehow or other performs some vikarma, but Krishna, in the heart, he will quickly cleanse that away if you're sincere and you appeal to him for help. And so it's a personal thing. Krishna wants us to succeed, but we have to make the effort, and we have to become serious about approaching him and actually getting out of this material world. Okay, any comments or questions? Otherwise, we'll have a few poems. This is my trademark. So let's see. This is a very nice verse by Rupa Goswami. All the words begin with M. This is a tour de force of alliteration, or anupras as they call it. Madhuresha madhudi mayamadava munadi mattalika mugdha mama madana mohana moda mardaya manaso maha maha moham. So, O Master of Mathura, lovely Lord of Goddess Shri, who places maddening melodies upon your murali. O Cupid's charmer, please redeem a life till now misspent by joyfully destroying my extreme bewilderment. Anyone who wants the poem, I have a file which I give away for free. Just write it. But you have to remember the email, Dravida108. That's the whole thing. And of course the Gmail. Write to me, ask for the poem, I'll send you the file. So now, this one, then there's some of them that are based on paintings. Because back in 2004, I work on the calendar. Have you ever seen the BBT calendar? It comes out. It's a weekly calendar. Tells all the holidays, and you've seen. So my friend Sura, who's passed, but he said, "Why don't we do a desk calendar this year? Also, instead of just the one that hangs on the wall, I said, okay, so could I write some poems for the captions? I said, sure. So these are from that experience. So one of my favorite paintings of all is Krishna walking into the forest with Balaram, and all the cows and the gopis are watching as he goes in, So this is to that. With lovely peacock plume upon his head, and fragrant flower placed upon each ear, he enters Braja's woods with graceful tread, a handsome dancing actor without peer. His golden yellow raiment brightly glows, his splendid garland reaches to his knees, and from his luscious lips the nectar flows, and fills his flute with charming melodies. As Krishna thus begins his blissful day, with cowherd friends who sing his glory sweet, he beautifies Vrindavan's forest way, with fine impressions of his lotus feet. So then there's like 3 in a row. So then they keep going, and then he and the boys, they're out of the village. So suddenly they start running, he and Balaram, across along the river. The painting, I don't know if you know the painting. Let's go, said Krishna, don't delay at all. And he and Balaram began to run, ahead of all their coward friends who called, "Oh Krishna, Rama, let us join the fun." And off they ran to Braja's forest haunts. Now you have to know what a haunt is. A haunt is a secret place where you play in the forest or something like that. And off they ran to Braja's forest haunts to play in every bower, grove, and sward. Sward is not a sword. It's a sward, is a meadow, believe it or not. And you know why I picked that word? Because it rhymes with Lord. And off they ran to Braja's forest haunts to play in every bower, grove, and sward. The boys would tease their friend with playful taunts, forgetting his position as the Lord. Shri Krishna is inviting us as well to join him in his pastimes, which enthrall. The wise heed Krishna when they hear him tell, "Let's go, my friends, do not delay at all." Anyway, there's more, but we're running out of time. We'll have the kirtan. Thank you for your attention. You're invited next Monday. We'll resume. Hare Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. And with this very important, encouraging verse, Chipram Bhavati Dharmatmata, they quickly become righteous.